competitive renewal with people, with other programs, or you're being competing against other programs. And there are some criteria that are used for MD, PhD programs that are getting NIH funded, just as any grant would be. You know, any NIH grant is going to be reviewed by reviewers and scored and things like that, which is how ours is as well. So if you see the word MSTP, it should mean an NIH-funded MD, PhD program. Many other institutions will call their programs MD, PhD programs or something. Okay, so now I need to find my computer on here, right?
Hit continue without scanning.
Yeah, just hit continue without scanning. And
Windows is just having a...
my computer's bad.
Well, no, it's because the flash drive was configured on a computer, not yours. It thinks it's broken.
Okay.
Here, just go over to the right. There you go.
Down.
Down what? Oh.
Nope.
Hit cancel. All right. You want to hold this for me? Oh, never mind. There you go.
And then you can, there should be an option down further. Yeah, open folder to view files. Yeah.
Yep.
Right there.
Hope my battery lasts.
So you get one hand.
I don't have my charger.
See if this is it. I put a slide in here at the end today, and it made all the other slides look different.
That sounds about right.
So how did you break your ankle?
I slipped on the damn ice. So, and I heard it go crack, and I was hobbled home actually, and then nobody was home, so I drove to the ER. But no, this foot, but I can move it this way. This way is hard. It's a fibular. It's the fibula that I broke. So.
I have a friend who did the exact same thing. But
Really?
Hers was just a very high ankle sprain, but she's still in a boot too.
Oh, it takes forever.
Yeah.
Although I have to say, there's a friend of mine also who did the same thing on the same day. Didn't break it, she sprained it. We both said, I'd rather do the boot than not.
Right, that's what because she was on crutches for a little bit and she did not like it.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
permission. So I say can't or
Continue.
Continue, yep.
There's a friend of mine, he's actually in medical school right now over at Carver, and he was running outside, and same thing, like stepped in a hole and slipped on the ice, and he ended up having to have surgery, but
Hit yes.
he's on crutches.
Yeah, it's he's had surgery.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
You do see a lot of these people looking this very same thing. These boots. I can work. I can do more.
It's okay. You always see the burst right after you get a huge ice storm, and you all know what it's from.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's okay. Freshman year, I fell down the hill. There was an ice streak down the hill, and I stepped on it wrong and slid butt first all the way down the hill. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think the applauding group of frat boys was the best.
So MSTPs are MD PhD programs. It's a means by which those of you who are interested in research can combine and can stay involved in research as well as medicine. As you might imagine, the advances that we see in medicine are coming out of the research community, and especially out of the biomedical research community. And so the fit is very close, and it always has been. For instance, Eric Epping, he might tell a little bit what he does, but he works on the genetics of autism, which is a very hot area these days, and also a very complicated area, because there's no one gene for autism. So, MD, PhD programs train people to be physician scientists. There are tons of them around in the Harvard College of Medicine and in the UIHC, working at any range of kinds of career, managing their career kind of in a range of ways. Some have no clinical responsibility, and some have about 50% clinical responsibility. It's very, very difficult, and Eric, I hope will speak to this too, it's very difficult to run a lab on less than about 75% time. So the outcome of MD, PhD programs is mostly physician scientists who spend about 25% of their time doing straight clinical work and about 75% doing research. Now, if you ask the physician scientists, though, they will often say that they have 50% impact in both arenas. It's just that physically, their physical bodies are sitting, in the lab about 75% of the time and in the clinic 25% of the time. And they can be they can be 1 day a week in the clinic, and that's how it is, and the other 4 days are in the lab, or they can have, generally you wouldn't be very productive if you are every morning in clinic and then every afternoon in lab, because patients really do take precedent over the lab because they're bodies, they're people. And so it's very inconvenient or inefficient to do it that way. Some people do be on service for a month, and then the rest of the time they're in the lab, something like that. So if this doesn't work, we just won't worry about it. So some of the things I was going to tell you are that I might imagine you would want to know is, I was going to talk about admissions a little bit, and how do you get ready to apply to MD PhD programs. A little bit about what they do to get you trained to be a physician scientist. What kind of training? Is it just medical school and then graduate school and then medical school? And then a little bit about our outcomes. So we can start with admissions. There he is. How are you?
Hello.
We're still trying to get a PowerPoint going, so I'm just talking. And I told them you would answer all the questions.
Sure. I'll do my best.
Eric Epping, Dr. Eric Epping, right?
Yeah.
The people don't call you that though, do they?
Usually not, but it has happened before.
Yeah, so I like to because I knew Eric when he was just starting in MSTP. So I've known him a long time. Yeah. So anyway, I was going to go real quickly through some things. Admissions. So admissions, you apply to medical school, okay? So that's how the admissions stuff goes. But if you're just a medical school applicant, and then there are a few things you add to a medical school application through the AMCAS service now. You can check a box. It wasn't true when Eric applied, but you can check a box at the AMCAS level now, and that says MD PhD program type. And AMCAS gives you a couple more questions to answer. Not surprisingly, they are, why would you want to do this? Why do you want to do combined training? And 2 is, what experiences have you had in the lab? So that's not surprising. That would be true of any of the programs that you applied to across the country. Those are the questions you're going to have to answer. The character count for the one about what have you done in the research realm is huge, like 10,000 characters or something ungodly like that. So we're hoping that people don't use that many characters because
I guess if you wrote a paper, you could
you could put it
that
in there.
into.
But I think the powers that be are going to try and get that shortened because that's too much writing about the research experiences that you've had.
And the next time, a few more from personal statement.
Yeah, personal statements, I don't know, 3,000 or something. So that's where you begin. Of course, really where you begin is now when you're an undergrad, and getting in the lab and seeing that this is something that you like discovery, and you're curious, and some of our admissions faculty say if we could put a number on, like your MCAT score, if we put a number on curiosity, then they would have it made. They could just say, okay, what's the curiosity, number here, and because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for people who are curious, interested in discovery, interested in asking questions. Then actually there's a small short part of secondary application